Do you see your thing?
I see that thing, yeah.
And then does it say recording?
It gave me yeah, it's recording.
It says recording. Okay, cool. All right,
Yes.
I'm gonna let people in.
Do you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, I'll move it too. I can't see me.
Here we go. Hey folks, welcome. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. You can have your camera on or off. It doesn't matter. We're going to open up questions here in a little while. So you can chime in later, but Jacq is the star of the show today. So we're glad y'all are here. Welcome. Just going to wait a few minutes to let folks in. Just want to make sure that we are recording. It says that we're recording. That's the one thing Kaden was like. I have a sticky note right here. It says, I've been staring at it all day long. I always forget to record meetings. Got a big day today, Jacq. Tonight we are opening the MFA Thesis Performance Festival.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
So all the solo shows of the grad students.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Does it make you miss grad school?
No, it's very stressful, actually. I bet these grad students could attest to that.
Oh, I remember you were around the clock.
Yeah.
Like you were literally working around the clock.
You came to see my grad solo, didn't
Yes.
you?
Yes.
You in Phoenix.
It was brilliant. I'm sorry. It was.
Well, we've got some brilliant folks in this cohort, so we're expecting some cool pieces tonight. If there are grads in this room, we wish you all the broken legs. Yeah, we're gonna wait for just a couple more minutes. Today we're doing auditions, casting, and agents. This is our third part in our field prep series. We did one with a bunch of professional designers, a scenic and costume designer, a video and sound designer, and a production manager, lighting designer. So we did a big panel with them. We did a playwrights panel just a few weeks ago. And you have your own panel today. You are the star. Just me and you, babe.
Yes. That's really cool. Y'all are giving them all the perspectives.
That's what we're trying to do. And we're doing a big headshot day on April 15th and 16th, where all of our seniors and grad students are getting free headshots so they can kind of go into the field with
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So we're trying to get folks prepared. Okay, I'm going to try to keep an eye on the room. And hi, everybody. This is Jacqueline Wheeler. Jacqueline, I love Jacqueline Wheeler so much. We actually go way back, but I think she's so perfect for this panel because she has such a unique perspective. And oh yeah, you're getting some love. Thank you for coming. Yes. She has such a unique perspective because Jacqueline and I actually went to undergrad together. We were actors running the show and like producers, and we were, and we had a great time, and we kind of moved to New York around the same time. And Jacqueline also went and got her master's degree at Michigan State. And so she got that at acting, and she's an incredible acting teacher. Um, she's taught in the college level. She's coached when she moved into the agent world. She's worked with some of the top agencies in the industry. She started with Buckwald. She's buddy with like Stephanie Clapper, and she's she knows all the people in Telsey. Like that's her world, and it's really exciting because she brings this really unique perspective of being able to really be tight knit with the industry, seeing the ins and outs, but she also has this rich college educational background. So she knows where we are coming from. And so I'm excited to welcome Jacq today, to kind of share with us her experience. And Jacq, you can tell us a little bit more, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming. And we're so glad that you're here. We'll start out with I'll let you talk a little bit. I'll ask you some questions, and then we're going to open it up for our students to jump in, and we'll get down to the nitty gritty. So everybody, please welcome Jacqueline Wheeler.
Yes.
Do some love in the chat.
I'm so glad to be here, and I'll do anything for Steven. So, and also I love Sarah Lawrence in general. I've gone and gotten to see several of the productions over the years and support. So it's cool to be with all of you. I'm very happy I can be here. Hopefully, I can help out in any way that you need. Just a little bit more about myself. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I moved to New York right after undergrad. I got my degree in musical theater, and I double majored in musical theater and communicative disorders, actually, because my parents said I had to have another degree besides musical theater. So I did that and moved to New York and got to do some theater, trying to find my way, trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted to be. Interesting little story that's changed the trajectory of my life. Basically, I was doing the whole New York thing, trying to figure everything out. Missed a call to be on a national tour because my phone fell in a puddle, and my whole life went to shambles because I didn't know, what am I going to do? That was a big thing for me to book. And so I ended up taking things into my own hands and finding an opportunity, finding a company in LA that would send me overseas to teach. So I chose Istanbul, Turkey, and it was a really cool adventure for me to do by myself. And it made me fall in love with teaching. So when I got back, I immediately started looking for opportunities for grad school. Got into Michigan State, and they were an equal focus in teaching and acting, so which is why I chose them. And while I was there, I fell in love with casting, and so I ended up making my secondary focus while I was in grad school on like business entertainment. Basically, I got connected with Stephanie Holbrook Casting in New York. We met at a showcase before I had graduated, and we kind of just connected as humans. And she gave me the opportunity to come back to New York and work for her. So it's kind of my foot in the door on the business side of acting. So I went back with Steph, got my opportunity with her. Casting can be super freelance for a while. So she was like, why not agenting? So she hooked me up with Buckwald, which was a large bi-coastal agency. And then I wound up in Nicolosi, which is a more boutique agency. And pandemic happened, wanted to find something closer to family, and I'd spent a long time in New York, so was curious to see if something could bring me here. And People's Store legitimately came in like in the last second, and I took the leap and moved to Atlanta and started with People's Store, and now I am a TV film agent there, and it's been awesome. I'll have my year like June 14th. So that's everything.
So you bring to the table this really unique perspective of uh, both coasts, and now like Atlanta, which has exploded over the past decade. Can you tell us a little bit about um, how those three areas kind of speak to each other? How much does it matter, like where people live? And how do you work with other coasts?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are the largest, probably actually the best southeastern and one of the best agencies just in the country, but definitely the best in the southeast. And so we share clients with agencies in New York and LA. We work with them, that we're teams, we split, we work on behalf of our clients, and of course we have some that do not have additional reps, which is awesome too. And we right now, nowadays, it really doesn't matter where you're at. Right now, as far as I know, most everything is still self-tape, and actually southeastern market is going to stay self-tape. So
Hmm.
you kind of can have more room to play around with where you're at, as long as you actually are truly game to be there if you're needed. Because there are some situations where it's like, I'm not gonna submit that person in this area because like I don't fully trust that they'll make themselves available to be actually here in the time span that is needed. But then you got some that are just they will make themselves available where the work is taking them.
Wow.
So you can kind of play around a little bit more. But right now everything is virtual, even like the callbacks, even the tests have been virtual for TV film. So it's kind of opened up a world of opportunity, and it does,
Yeah.
yeah, a world of opportunity. But I do know on the acting side of things, it causes a lot of frustrations just because they're not getting that immediate feedback that they used to get in the room,
Yeah.
which is very difficult and can be very hard on you because it feels like you're just sending these tapes out into the ether. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm putting so much work into this audition. Like, is anybody actually watching it? So it comes with its pluses and
Yeah.
its minuses.
It's like you have the accessibility, which is amazing. You could be living anywhere and still get into the rooms,
Mhm.
but then you're just you're just throwing shit at the wall constantly.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's awesome. Okay, can you, for folks that are just kind of new to like the agency process, can you walk us through the step by step of like when how you learn about a new client, how you sign them, when do you sign them, why do you sign them, and then how you represent them. So from like meeting a client for the first time and getting them a job, what is that process?
Yeah. So right now, and it's different for every agency for sure because it depends on your roster. So I have a larger roster. We have a larger roster at People's Store. So you just want to make sure that you're going to give any new client the hands-on representation that they need and the type of representations where they're truly covered the way that they should be. So there's a lot of times you might miss out on an agent, and it's not because they don't think that you are talented or they didn't love your work, but maybe the team as a whole decided like we have a lot of people right now that may fill those areas that this actor can fill. And so in order to give everybody the appropriate type of representation, then we may need to pass for now and revisit later, that kind of thing. Anyway, so like, okay, I can start with like how we'll find them. It's just by connections. We are The biggest way to get in with our agency is to have an industry referral, and we'll take even a teacher, even an acting coach, even casting, or somebody that's already on our roster that we represent. Those things just go a lot further because we immediately see that name that we know, and it helps us to suck us in to take a further look because we're so insanely busy that you need those little tricks for us to actually stop and to fully give your submission the attention that it needs and deserves.
What about, hey, Jacq, you did a workshop at my school at Sarah Lawrence. I just
That
graduated.
works,
Here's my
but
stuff.
yes, that's a great thing. That's a fantastic thing. But I will say to set it fully apart, because it's not just going to be me. I pass it on to the rest of the team as well. And I
Mm.
can advocate on your behalf and say, here's why I think they're incredible. But if overwhelmingly everyone's like, I don't, because everybody's so busy, if they pass, then I'm giving you those tips of how to set it apart, to just give it a little bit more of an extra push, which is name dropping in those
Yeah.
types of submissions, because everybody wants to help out people they know, right?
And it's
So
helpful to know how this works. So it's not like they hate me.
yes,
There's
yes,
like a process.
yes, there is a process, and there's certain things that help your submission stand out more than others.
Yeah.
But not just email submissions, whatever. I don't like mail-in submissions. Like
Save a tree, save a tree.
save the trees. I think we should not do that, and it just like kind of can be a waste of paper, but and also money on your end. But so that's one way that we'll do it, like the mail-ins, email submissions, but also going to see shows, like going to workshops. Like there's so many workshops that are available through like Actors Connection and one-on-one, and they provide so many fantastic workshops where you're actually getting in front of a casting director, or you're doing those agenting workshops where they are genuinely going to see if maybe they like someone enough to call them in for a meeting and then possibly represent them. So those workshops, you can like set aside like a little fund and just like save up for those types of special classes, because I'm all about, like I don't think anybody should like blow the bank whenever it's not
Yeah.
necessary yet.
Yeah, we're artists.
Yeah.
What is Actors Connection? Because you've done a lot of those workshops in New York as an agent.
Yes. And
How does that work?
Actors Connection is one of those portals where you can sign up and you can create a profile. You can get your resume up there. You can put your pictures up there. You can put your reels or clips up there, and you can start self submitting. Or wait, am I mixing it up? Because you have to have the Actors Connection account, because on my end it's breakdowns, but you can
Oh,
start self-submitting for certain projects that you see on your end. But also they provide I mixed up Actors Connection with Actors Access, which is Actors Access is the profile that you set up for submitting yourself. Sorry.
gotcha. No,
Actors
that's okay.
Connection, Actors Connection is an entire like it's a great company that provides a bunch of classes and workshops, and you can just peruse and sign up and get into one of those classes. Some are just one night events where you get in front of certain people. Some are multiple week classes, and you can find the ones that work best for you. You can also research the people that it's going to be with, that's going to be there and be giving feedback to you, and see who are you intrigued by? Who do you think would be a good fit for you? Who do you love, the people that are on their roster? You can do that search on IMDb. Who's on their roster? Do you feel like you would be a great addition to that roster? There's just so many great things that you can do as prep work before you sign up for those classes just on the fly. You want to be thoughtful about it. Make sure it's something that really, those are the people that you want to be in front of. Look and see what that casting director has cast in the past. Is it totally like your genre? Do
Mm.
they have your similar style? maybe I want to sign up for them because I know they're going to be casting projects that I would be a shoe-in for. Because casting directors in particular, they remember, I swear it's incredible. They remember like everybody. So they remember when they've seen people from those workshops, and they will call you in whether or not you have reps or not. So those are just little strategies that you can do to get in front of the right people that could lead you to that referral, that could
Great,
lead you to that booking.
great.
Um,
So it's about the hustle and
yeah,
getting in all these different ways.
yeah.
So
And
once you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, you go ahead.
I was going to say, so once you have signed someone or they're your client and they've gotten to you from one of these pathways, then what?
I get to know them as a human, because I feel like you can't rep somebody in the best way possible if you don't actually kind of know them. People are just so much more than their materials, and there's a way that you can think outside the box when you're submitting if you actually know someone. So I'd like to, like, have a meeting, make sure that my other colleagues kind of get a get to know you meeting as well. And then we just start going for it. We start submitting you on projects. We don't expect this to be like an out the gate, you must book thing. It is, some people have fear. They're like, oh my gosh, I haven't booked yet. And I've been signed for like a few months. And it's like, we are not expecting you to like start booking out the gate. It takes a hot sec for casting to start picking up on your submission, to remember you from your last audition, and then they start really getting to know you and thinking about you. It's a process once you get signed.
That is so interesting because like I feel like there's this thought that like, oh, the audition process is so hard. You always have to submit yourself. You have to stand in line. You have to go to the equity building or whatever, or wait your turn. But if I just had an agent, then everything would work out fine. But it sounds like even when you get an agent, there's still a process. There's still patience involved, and like you still have to continue to do the work. Is it?
100%. I mean, even our clients, I have meetings with our clients where they feel like there's like a slow period and they're confused and they're getting down on themselves, and we like try to come up with ideas that could help. Like they'll be like, should I start creating my own content? I love writing. It's like, yes, you should. The more you can keep doing it and making those connections and creating your own works, like you should keep that muscle going. And no, honestly, like I said before, it's just a fact. People like helping out people that they know. So the more people you can meet, the better, the more opportunities that come afterwards.
Hmm.
Because you meet somebody on set, y'all really hit it off, you continue talking, and then they think about you like a couple of months down the road when they're doing something, and not being afraid to tell people, this is who I am, this is what I'm looking for, not in a try hard way, but people like having an honest human connection with somebody. Those things just help grow your network of people and help grow the opportunities that are going to come your way.
Hmm.
And of course, an agent makes it easier because of our connections, but it doesn't mean that it's just like smooth sailing the second you got an agent.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's great advice. So um let's talk a little bit about like, so you were saying earlier that we're like moving to self tapes. Everybody's doing it. We might stay here. What when you're working with the client, and you're trying to help them prepare, you're trying to, what's your advice on how to pick a piece, how to set up a self tape? You've coached lots and lots of big name people and self tapes that have gone on and gotten the role.
Mhm.
Um, we've actually switched to self tapes at Sarah Lawrence too. We're doing that all at auditions, and we actually just purchased the materials to set up a brand new self tape studio here on campus.
That's amazing.
So we're trying to get that, like, work out that muscle early in our students. Um, but it is like you were saying, like you're just constantly throwing things into the ether. How do you coach an actor to like give their best performance, maintain stamina to, and like, I don't know, just walk us through the self-tape thing because it's such an enigma.
I The self-tape thing is, it's such its own beast. It's interesting, but once you got it down, I feel like, and you got the mindset about it, I feel like it can just, it's a part of the week. It's a part of your career. It's a part of doing the job. It's one aspect of it. I'm loving that people are just going, everything you would really need for a self-tape to make it really pop is all on Amazon and for fairly, like reasonably priced. I mean, I'm seeing people with these portable like circle backgrounds that you can like fold up, that's like the
Mm-hmm.
blue or the grays,
Mm-hmm.
and you can take it with you on a trip, even if you get an audition while you're there. You can like fold it up and bring it with you wherever you go. That way you're ready to do your self tape. Nowadays, the phones are great enough quality to do any self tape on. You don't need to go out and spend money at like a professional studio unless you want to. I mean, somebody there on their end is always going to make sure everything is great, so you're not having to do it. I mean, if you can do it, that would be cool, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that you can order like a ring light and save up for a ring light on Amazon as well, and then you're done. And that's everything you need. Blank wall, your iPhone, and
Good lighting.
a light. Yeah, good lighting. And So those are the materials that you need for success there. And usually it's bust up, just leaving just a little space above the head, like right below the bust up. That's like the framing, making sure the framing's nice. Not too loud. I got in trouble for that while I started in casting
Wait, too
because
loud?
I would read for the sessions, and a director pulled Stephanie Holbrook aside and said, "You need to tell her to be quiet." Because I was too loud next to the camera.
Oh,
So,
the
because the
reader
reader
was
should
too loud.
be,
Oh, I see.
I was the reader for the sessions. And he was like, "You need to tell her to stop being so loud." Like the reader should be right off the camera, so your your eyes are never getting lost in the self tape, so the reader's right there, and you can, there's so many different tricks that can make make it pop. And making sure your eyes are not lost in the self tape, that's one important
Oh, can
thing.
you say that a little? Can you expand on that? Like your focus and your gaze, keeping your eyes open. Like, so like I don't need to be like performing to this. That's
No,
not good.
no, well, like a lot of the times people maybe add way too much movement in a self tape, or like put their scene partner and like say there's two other people in the scene with you, and you're like making your focus for that person over there and this person over here. But if you make it too far over there and you're telling your whole thing over there, we're losing all of the acting
Mm.
behind the camera. So when I'm watching the tape, I'm like, if you could just adjust it and put it right there, then we get to see everything that's going on, which could help you book. So
That is
there's
a
just like,
huge step. That's great.
yeah, a little tricks like that. Oh, and going back to the reader thing, making sure your reader is not pulling focus, because there's so many times where I've had clients send me a tape and I'm completely taken out of it because the reader is so much louder than the person that's actually doing the audition, and they're completely distracting and taking me out of the scene because A, they're a bad actor, and then B, they're just too loud, and they're pulling focus from what I'm trying to see, which is you. So if you're making sure that that reader is basically, I can't really do it now, but like basically like right above a whisper, basically, just making sure
Mm.
that they're not louder than you.
I have a quick
And
question in the
that
chat.
helps with focus as well.
With monologues, look to the camera or put the person you're talking to slightly off screen?
Slightly off screen,
That's
yeah,
what, yeah.
always. Because directly in the camera, unless it's like a weird style choice, it's not gonna work. It's gonna make it like kind of funny, like kind of like The Office or whatever. Like if
Yeah.
that's definitely a style choice, is to like look directly at the camera and then deliver your line there. But over here, it's more impactful,
You're
I
right. And
think.
it does open you up more, surprisingly, to be a
Yeah,
little off center. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
The self tape. Wow. What a monster. What do I wear? What should I wear?
Um, I'm I am always I like when the actor's kind of creative with it. Um when they kind of just give their own personal style. They're not trying too hard. Like you don't need to be like, unless the character would be completely glammed and hair and whatever, unless the character is that, like you don't need to just, go crazy over the top. um some people will wear stuff that kind of alludes to almost a costumey effect, like if it's appropriate for the character. But I think that almost like trying to dress like in a costume, like if it's super costumey, that distracts as well, because we want to see you.
Yeah.
The costume stuff is going to come later, but if you want to, everything comes back to not distracting from the work. So not overcompensating with a bunch of props. I was giving notes to this guy last weekend. He just kept bringing in like 3, 4 props. And I was like, that that makes us think that you're not comfortable enough with the scene to do the scene. You're almost hiding behind all these props. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to be. He made the choice of like drinking water, like he was drinking water the whole time. His acting was fantastic, but it was just like, why would he need to be drinking water the whole time? It just distracts. So those are some. I don't know if I hit everything you asked, but those are some really good
You
tips in
did.
pop.
What is
Oh, I got it.
oh, go ahead.
I know what else you asked. And it's so much easier said than done, but getting into, and I saw my friend and casting director, Erica Bream, who I'm actually working on a project with right now. She's one of the best uh, casting directors I've gotten to work with. Like she's just so cool and real person, awesome. And you should follow her on Instagram actually, because she gives such helpful advice
What's her name?
to
What is it?
two actors, Erica Bream,
Okay.
Bream. She
Great.
just gives such helpful advice to actors. And I saw her post something the other day about just like letting go of the audition afterwards and not having. There's so many times, and you saw this, Stephen, with our best friend Jacq, the way he could just like get going and do a million takes because he was getting his head into like, I can do it better, I can do it better. Erica had a good point. She was like, in the room you would maybe be given an extra take, one extra take. So
Yeah.
try your best not to get into your head and get into that cycle of like, I can do it again, I can do it again. Like just trust yourself and know that you probably did your best work in 3 takes. So choose one of the 3, because the more and more you keep doing it, it might not even get any better. You need to trust yourself and not drive yourself crazy. And within those first 3 takes, you probably have the take that you should send. That was just something I thought about, because like it's so
That's
easy to get into your
good.
head.
Yeah, Jake was always nuts about that. For hours.
It was hard.
Can you give us an example of you coaching someone on a self-tape that they nailed it and they got the job? Like Can you tell us like an experience and why it worked?
There's been so many. um, I I'm trying to think of what made it happen because so much of auditioning is luck. Um, that I feel like, and it's so funny because it happens all the time where like I'll call someone with a booking, I'll call someone um where I'm like, you booked it. And there's so many times where they're like that one of all things. Like I had just like I was so busy that day and I just threw it up in 5 seconds. Like a lot of the times it happens when they like are like, what? That's the one I booked. Um, uh, I just think it's trusting your gut and
Yeah,
being authentic to who you are.
and not
Those are
overthinking it. It sounds like.
exactly, not overthinking it. Trust that you have good instincts and that you did your homework and you created this character and you're bringing yourself to the character. You're being authentic, you're being grounded, and let it go. Um, it's so hard to say that and like actually, it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's good advice, not only as an actor, but as a human, I think. That's the goal, right? To just kind of be authentic and walk in the room and be yourself. So once you master that, doing it on camera, hopefully
Very,
it's an everyday struggle.
that's 100% real. 100%.
This is good. You're giving us so many nuggets. Um, okay, so someone has booked the job with you. What happens after that? As an agent, what is your process? What are the things that you do to cover and support that actor through through a gig from start to finish?
I I can give an example because it is actually case by case as well because some I like this is how I like to do it. I like to, when I get the offer, I like to call if there's any other team members, like a manager, like a New York or LA rep. I like to call the other reps first, give them the opportunity to tell me their thoughts on the offer that came in first. And then if they're down, if they want to, if they're available, we'll call the person together and we'll tell the clients, about the booking, talk them through it, talk them through our ideas of how we're going to negotiate. Here's our thoughts here. We want the money to come up in this way because you have these credits. We want you to make sure that you have this type of billing, which is like, we want you billed with the guest stars. We want them to ensure that you're billed with the guest stars or whatever. And then or maybe like we want to make sure that you have a larger dressing room, not just one of the smaller ones, because you're gonna have maybe you're 6'5", 6'3", or something, and maybe we want to make sure you're comfortable in the dressing room, that kind of thing. There's just all these different things, depending on at the level that of which your career is at. That we can play around with and negotiate and make sure that you're comfortable and that you're getting what you actually are deserved.
Mm.
Um, and then we'll start the negotiation process, kind of getting an idea from casting, sending them our list of asks, which is our counter to the negotiation. Like, we want this amount of money, we want this, we want this. And then they will the casting will take it back to production and kind of run everything by them, see what's possible, and come back to us. And we can either accept or maybe push back in a different way to try to get the things that this actor needs and deserves. And then we finally get to an agreement point, run everything by the client, good to go. And then they're booked and ready to go. And then they're out of our hands for a hot sec. And we'll check in and make sure we look over the contracts and that everything's correct on there. on what we had agreed upon. And for the most part, it's smooth sailing and it's kind of out of our hands then. But if we have like a series regular that's like doing a very long job, very intense job, there's more check-in, just making sure that they're good, they're comfortable, everything's being handled correctly, payment is correct, all that kind of stuff. So
Wow, that's great. That's great. I want to know about so you kind of, when you started as an agent, you were working with a lot of theater artists, right? At Nicolosi.
and Buckwood, yeah.
And Buckwald. And so now you're doing a lot, mostly TV and film. What's the difference? How do you support your clients differently? And what's the process of getting in the room?
It's a similar process in getting in the room. It's very, very similar, except for the stuff, except obviously the material that you're having to put on tape is different because it's like a song, a cut of a song, and then like a scene or whatever. The process is the same, except for there'll be different aspects to the theater audition, obviously, where they may want you to do a different type of call, like come back in for the dance callback, come back in for put this other song on tape, that kind of thing. But as far as like the negotiation process is completely different for theater. It takes a much longer time. It's way more extensive to negotiate a big theater job because there's so many other aspects to it, like travel, like full-fledged travel and housing that you're having to kind of cover for theater, or tickets, like comps, like there's so many random miscellaneous things in a theater contract that you can go back and forth on before you make sure that it's at a place where you feel comfortable. But otherwise, the process of auditioning is pretty much the same, but I would say it's much longer process casting wise in theater as well. Because, TV films moving like this.
Right.
It's like, you missed that audition? Sorry, it's already cast. It got cast 2 hours ago. So
yeah. And then theater is like, can you sing? Can you dance? Do you fit the costume? Are you available for 6 months?
Can you do this trick?
Can you do this? A little of this, a little of that.
That's true.
That's great. That's awesome. I want to do something random and it might not work. Is there anybody in the chat? Is there anybody in this room who would like to be in the hot seat, who might have a monologue that they do in class, that they have in their back pocket, that they might want to share with the group and get feedback from Jacq? Anybody? I got Wendy. All right, Wendy. You're on. I'm about to spotlight you. Hi, Wendy. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi, Wendy. This is Jacq.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you have a monologue? Do you have a monologue you want to share with us?
Yes, I do.
All right. Go for it.
Okay.
Should we slate first? Should we go over slating, Jacq?
Say your name, your height, and where you're based. You can just say it chill.
I'm Wendy Nossi, and I'm 5 feet tall, and I live in South Africa. Well, I'm based in Joburg. So today I'm going to be doing a monologue. You proposed to her? How sure are you that you even love this girl? Just because I know you. You don't even love her. I'm not angry. I just can't believe this. I've known you for so long. And you still in love. I'm the one who's waiting and wanting to be loved by you. But it's clear. I'm in love with someone who'll never love me. And such a fault anyways.
Nice job,
And then,
Wendy.
thank you.
Great work. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to make my screen bigger. For some reason it went. Oh, why is it so small? First off, I thought it was a great choice and material for you. And you're very brave to just jump up and start doing that. That's fantastic and an awesome way, to get your work out there and get seen. And you've got a great look on camera. There's something so endearing. There's something so insanely endearing about you. Your smile is so beautiful. You want to make me keep watching more. My one major note is just, I know that this is probably meant for the stage or whatnot, but is for when you are doing it on tape, you can bring it back even more because those emotions can still stay there. So the more that ease you have with it, you can still give it all those beautiful levels, but I would say explore giving it even more of an arc to where it really gives us a place to end up at the end. And just for TV film, you can make it even more grounded, even more real, and really dig into the vulnerability of the piece to make it pop completely. But overall, I thought it was fantastic work. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you. All right, I have a quick question. Thanks for being with us today, Wendy. All right, a quick question in the chat. For self-tape, do you want to see an original piece or a cover monologue or scene?
I want to see a cover monologue or scene.
Yeah.
I just think it's but no, take that back. Because if you've written a scene that you think is so great for you, that's different. I think the monologue portion of it, at least for especially to showcase TV film wise, and actually for theater, is that we want to see how you're interacting and playing off of a scene partner. So that's always going to be more helpful, is to have a scene. If you wrote it, that's totally fine. We'll never know unless you highlight that. And it could be a perk. I actually, in the end sharing, that was something I wrote, that just showcases you even further. I think the scene will always be best.
Cool. I've got one more performer. Oh, no, that was Will Tway. He said, no, he was clapping. He was not asking to go. He was clapping. So, all right, Will, got it. Last call. Anybody want to jump in? We got a little time. Then we're going to open it up for questions. You can either clap or raise your hand. It is okay. All right. I think people just want to chat and answer questions. Got one here from Megan Ham. She's one of our first year grad students. So there's a lot of talk about equity and people saying you don't want to get it right away. What are the things you can't do once you get your equity card?
Well, yeah, once you get your equity card, you can't do anything non-union. And I know a lot of the tours actually went non-union. So it kind of opened up a lot of jobs for non-union actors in a way, which is cool. So really that's the only thing. Honestly, it's funny, agents, we would need to know if you were equity or non-equity, but with SAG and non-SAG, does not really matter to agents or to really anybody, because we know that like you'll eventually get your card if we're putting you in and we're behind you. So that doesn't affect much, except for SAG, you can't do the non-union projects, and then for equity, you can't do the non-ec projects. So that's really it.
So if a theater was basically the theater was non-union, you couldn't be considered for that.
Right. And I know that a lot of tours went non-union after the pandemic. So their kind of world kind of got opened up a little bit. It's kind of a personal choice.
Oh,
If you're
excuse me. I
right-
just dropped my equity card. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had it sitting right here. I had to. We have let's do some questions, and then Mara, we'll get back to you. We'd love to have you perform for us. Emily Avalez, who's a second-year grad student about to graduate with her master's degree, yay. Hello, in a pre-agent post-MFA situation, where should actors be looking for work? How many auditions a week?
So I think that those websites like Playbill and Backstage, you're going to be able to find a lot of opportunities there. You can self-submit with your Actors Access, which is, actually the profile that if you get reps ends up getting linked to your representation. So Actors Access, but as Playbill and Backstage, and I may be missing some. So if anybody knows of the others, feel free to share, because I know I'm definitely missing some where people can self-submit.
That's not your ministry anymore. You're on the other side of things. Will Tway says, does being SAG eligible make you look better to potential agents, or does that not carry much weight?
The whole SAG thing, it really doesn't, because we know that will come. And there's also, actually, let me just slide this in here. Georgia's a right to work state. So anything Atlanta, that kind of stuff, like you don't have to, a lot of our huge clients have never become SAG. Because the commercial market, so many commercials are non-union now. And so if you're a big TV film actor, but you book so much commercially, you kind of don't want to go full-fledged. And this is Atlanta based in particular, but you kind of don't want to go full-fledged SAG, because it'll take you out of all of that non-union commercial work. There's just like little things like that it's good to know. But SAG eligible, that's cool. And but it's not necessarily something that just like jumps out to put you over the edge.
Cool.
In our field.
Kiva says casting networks. I guess you're talking.
Yeah. Casting networks is another one that we also get to, not as much as like Breakdowns Actors Access, but Casting Networks does send out and show you all the jobs that are casting as well.
Great. Megan says, I have a question about reels. As an agent and a person who has done casting, what do you like seeing in a reel? If you don't have good quality videos from shows, should self-tapes be part of your reel?
That's awesome. That's a good question. I just want the footage to showcase you in a good light. So if you do have, like, I am a big proponent, if y'all are in a place where you can still jump on some student films, do it. Because you'll get that professional quality.
Everyone is in a place. Do it.
Good. Do student films, because you're going to get some good quality work. You'll be able to cut it down to make it really your truest, best work, a part of the project. It'll look good, it'll sound good, and it'll give you something that somebody can click on, because typically we need that, especially when you're submitting to agencies and whatnot. We want to be able to click on something and actually see the work. And it doesn't have to be crazy long. It doesn't have to be anything from insanely big budget or whatever. It can literally just showcase you in your best light. And if you don't have any footage that are from films or whatever, I am totally happy to watch self tapes. We is And that way you can, you can get you a couple, 2 or 3 solid self tapes that you can send along with submissions, and you can practice that self tape as much as you want, because you want to make sure it's literally the best self tape that's going to showcase you, that someone clicks on and they're like, oh my god, not only is it like I could pick this up and put it onto a project, but it showcases exactly what I would submit them for. It showcases, it looks good, they sound good, the acting moments are there. You just want to make sure whatever you are sending along with submissions, footage wise, it is the truest, best representation of you. And we would like to see something that we would like clips in those submissions, because we won't know, what your work is about if we hadn't seen you like in a show or something.
That's great. I never thought about that. That's awesome. Good question, Megan, and good answer, Jacq. Any other questions, or should we bring Mara Edelstein on for a second?
I do have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi. So I just want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing your experience with us. I wanted to ask you how you would recommend a young actor to market themselves to agencies if they don't have a lot of experience besides student films or theater projects in school. I worked for a talent agent for a bit, and I saw that much of the time she would discuss their experience when evaluating whether she wanted to represent them or not. So I was curious to know how important that experience is, or how you would recommend actors to kind of work with what they have.
I know that everybody has to start somewhere. So, and lately I've been like excited when someone doesn't have that many credits, because I know that like, oh my gosh, now I get to submit them for all of these, like I get to make my net so wide, and I can put them down for things that now my other clients have grown past, so I can't submit them on these things anymore. And so now I get to kind of like play around more, like my options get widened, and then, after we've got certain bookings under your belt, we start to narrow it down. I'm not submitting you for certain size roles anymore, certain types of projects anymore. But I'm not deterred when someone doesn't have that much experience. I don't think it's weird for someone that's just gotten out of school to not have professional experience. Like it does not deter me. It does not make me feel weird, because you do have to start somewhere. And but the most important thing to me is that footage. Do I think that I could use you on my roster? Do I think that do I love your acting, or do I look at your stuff and like see so many things that are casting that I'm like, oh my god, they would have been perfect for this character that I was submitting on yesterday. Like I could have used them. Like just that footage to me is the most important. The resume will build and will come.
Great. Footage, you mean like on a reel? When you say that footage, you mean like on a reel?
Oh, I meant more that like the resume builder will come, like all the like having stuff on your res, it will come eventually. So I'm not like deterred if you just all of a sudden don't have amazing credits. I understand the places that people are in.
That actually makes so much sense. I love that. Because I never thought about that. Like if there's like a role that has 2 or 3 lines, you can't submit your big clients to that. That makes so much sense. I never even thought about that. So you need those young folks to send out for those things.
Yes.
That's really, really, really great to think about. So go get them, everybody. How about another question, anybody? All right, we're gonna bring Mara onto the screen. Hi, Mara.
How's it going?
You're in the hot seat.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, I'm going off I'm going out of here. It's y'all. It's just the two of you.
Great.
This is Jacqueline.
Nice to meet you. My name is Mara Edelstein. I'm 5'3" tall. And what was the last one for slating on a self-tape?
Name, height,
Okay.
and where you're based. Yeah.
Cool. And I'm based in New York. You know what's funny? I never had a cell phone. I didn't want to always be there, you know, like if your phone is on, you're supposed to be there. And sometimes I do like to disappear, but it's like when everyone has their cell phone on, no one is there, and it's like we're all disappearing the more we're there. Like last week, there's this woman in line at the pharmacy, and she was like, shit on her cell phone. She kept saying, shit, fuck, you're shitting me, you're fucking shitting me. No way, bitch. And you know, like that kind of stuff. And there were all of these old people in line, and it was like she didn't even care if she told her whole life, the worst parts of her life, to these people in line. And it was like people in line at pharmacies must be strangers by definition. And I thought that was sad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for volunteering to be in the hot seat.
Of course.
What is that piece from?
It's from Dead Man's Cell Phone. It's a play. It's
Yeah. Okay. It sounds very filmic, but I like the piece a lot. I think that you can play around even more with it because you have a naturally great filmic vibe about you. There's something that has great ease in your work, and it's not pushed, it's not over the top. So you already have those types of techniques that are going to be very transferable to TV film and to doing self tapes and that kind of thing. I just think you can have more fun with it and bring yourself to it even more.
Yeah.
There's so much to be played around with, and so many really funny, interesting moments that's going to come with just spending more time with it and just allowing yourself to really get with the groove of the speech and defining who you're exactly talking to, and so many little things that you can play around with that's really going to make it pop. But it was really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I picked that one because I had a feeling you would say that, and with the playing around, because you could really be talking to anybody. So thank you. I'm glad that you had the same ideas that I had, that I've been trying to work on. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Awesome. All right. Any other questions right now? We still have a little bit more time. And then while you're thinking about questions, I was gonna ask Jacqueline to like kind of do a quick little wrap up. And then usually after our field prep panels, we invite everybody to come and talk to the guests. So I thought maybe we could open everything up and go on grid view, and people who wanted to come off camera and just chat with Jacqueline or maybe introduce yourself. So if you'd like to do that at the end of this, we'd love to have you for just a little mingle, but we're not quite done yet. Just wanted to give you a heads up if you need to, freshen up before you come on camera. Emily Avalez says, how do you gauge if a role could be right for you in terms of sorting through casting calls, knowing your type?
Knowing your type. I think that comes, oh man, there's so much that can go into that, because I think it's like, I always say, I feel like Steven's probably heard me say this a million times as well, is that like my true acting mantra is that like the most interesting thing about a character is you. So I think you got to know you first before you kind of can like really start to read a character description and be like, I could do that. Like, that's so me. Like, I could make that interesting, make it pop, make it myself, and bring myself to the role to really, send it over the edge and book. I Yeah, I think that that comes with watching stuff on TV and watching film and just kind of doing your research about what I kind of feel like I could be similar to that actor, and maybe going down a rabbit hole and watching all their things, seeing what kind of characters they've played in the past. And what a really fun exercise that you all should do as friends and together as classmates is to sit around and kind of do that with each other one day and really kind of go through and everybody giving each other their ideas of like, you kind of remind me of this character and this thing that I saw, like, and you should watch it. Like those little things are going to help you make the like complete this like crazy puzzle. So that's an idea.
It's a great idea. It reminds me of like one of those Instagram filters where you're like, who am I like? But you could do that with your friends, and that really can kind of help you figure out type.
It does. It does. We did it in grad school. We would like, I kind of like co-taught the careers class for like our juniors and seniors while I was in grad school, and we'd all sit in like a huge circle and kind of have a day where it was just like one person would have a sheet that we would pass around and people basically fill up their ideas, and that then the person whoever's sheet it was would get it back and kind of have all these ideas of what how people saw them. And you know, it kind of just gives you a better idea of where people see you and where you could easily slide into in the industry.
That is good. That's an easy thing you could do like this afternoon. That'd be a fun
Yeah.
game too. I would hope that like B. Arthur is on my list.
She is on your list.
This is from Megan again. I have a friend who got onto The Sex Lives of College Girls. Love that show. And she told me a lot of casting comes down to how a person looks. Do you agree? How much is face value for film?
I think there's so I think I don't think it's like all about the look, but I think that it's a lot. There is a puzzle piece that a casting director is trying to put together. And I'll never forget like working with Steph. I learned so much from her, Stephanie Holbrook in New York. I learned so much from her because I got to sit in on those sessions and be a bad reader, apparently, because I was too loud. But I would just ask her and pick her brain and like see people's work. And I remember there would be times where I would look to her afterwards and be like, that has to be the one. Like, that was the best audition I've ever seen. That was the best of the day. And she's like, he looks like he looks way too similar to a guy that's going to play like his best friend that I've already cast. So, you know, there's just like little things like that where, and I'm like, so that poor guy that gave the best audition of his life, he's just automatically out, you know, because looks too similar to someone that's already signed on to do the project or whatever. Like when you're trying to put together families and like amps and that stuff, like, yeah, the look has a lot to do with it and progressing the story and whatever.
So it's not necessarily like the prettiest person gets the part. Like that's bullshit. This is more like how you look against the people in the whole big picture.
Big picture, yeah.
And some people like just read differently on film. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, folks? Can you hear somebody singing down the hall? There's like musical theater lessons. You remember those days?
I was wondering what that was.
A 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We are going to, if you'd like to meet Jacqueline and introduce yourself. Oh, that's a clap. That's a clap, not a wave. If you'd like to come off camera and meet Jacqueline and introduce yourself. This is wrapping up part 3 of the field prep series. Let's all throw some love in the chat for Jacqueline. Thank you so much for joining us. I miss you,
Thank
Jacq.
you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're coming back. Come back anytime. And we're just so grateful to have you. And I'm so grateful that you are in my circle.
Yeah,
And I'll see you soon. I'll see you in June.
I love you.
Love you. Here's Megan.
Hi, Megan. What's up?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for
Good.
sticking around saying hey.
Yeah, sorry, I'm
What
the
year are
person with all
you?
the questions.
Yes.
They were good questions.
Oh no, I love it. Yeah, always. Did you have any more?
I don't think so.
Good.
I'm sure I
Yeah.
could come up with more, but we're good.
You're all good. You're all good.
Yeah.
What year are you?
I'm a first year MFA.
Oh, nice. That's so awesome. So will you get to do a performance tonight?
No,
Next
that's going to be
year.
the second years. Yeah.
Next year.
I know.
Got a little time.
So are you gonna go tonight? I wish I
Yeah.
could go.
Yeah, I'm seeing one of them tonight. I've spaced it out so that I'm not like on campus super late, but yes.
Nice.
That's so cool. So what's been your main focus since being at Sarah Lawrence?
I mean, I was auditioning for grad schools for years, which is like its own set of beats of auditioning and how to do it. But primarily an actor, I've been delving into puppeteering, looking to do, I think, solo work after I graduate, but also like throw my hat in the ring, see what happens.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. There's so much that you could do. Keep your options open for sure, because you could have your hand in a lot.
That's the good thing about
Yeah.
Sarah Lawrence, is that you kind of get training to do everything.
Yes.
Thanks,
that's
Megan. Hi, Will Tway.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to thank you. I had one more question too, but I was like, how do I type this? And I like just had to say it because I wasn't sure how to put it into type words. But I've seen a lot of like opportunities where you talked about this briefly, like pay to go in front of a bunch of agents and perform. And then I've also heard of a lot of opportunities like that are scams. And I wanted to like hear your advice on how you know you're not getting taken advantage of.
So you're talking about classes in particular, or are you
Yeah,
talking
like
about
classes, yeah, stuff like that.
Well, so yeah, I think that like the forums that I was naming today about looking for those types of opportunities, like the one-on-ones and the actors connections, and anybody that you know that's actually in the business, you should ask them if they know of any more besides that. That would be a good question to ask. But knowing that it's coming from a reputable company, and then also when it's, because it'll tell you like who the class will be with, just do your research, look them up, look up who their clients are, look up what projects they've cast in the past. If they haven't, it could be a scam. So if there's just not much going on there, and I'm telling you, everything you need to know is like on the internet. So you can find it, you can probably even find places where they're like blowing them up on like a forum or something, like do not take this class. Like I guarantee there's stuff like that out there for people that have been out there scamming people. Remember like the way that they used to do it, Stephen, back when we were younger at the mall? Like they would have people like walking around like
Yes. And also when you moved to New York and they're like, you could be in this cabaret, but you have to sell 45 tickets in order to be in it.
Even I did one of those.
You did? It's a form of a scam.
It's a total scam. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, watch out for those.
Total scam. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. I don't think I've ever told anybody that.
Is that pay to play?
Yes, it is. It is. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's the best way to do it. You'll find everything you need with a quick Google search, I feel like. So.
Okay, that's very helpful. Yeah, last summer I almost bamboozled myself and did something like that. And at the last minute, I was like, Will, this is not a smart decision.
Don't do it. Because your friends are the victims. The friends who have to buy the tickets. It's like, will you please
Oh my
come see my
God.
show? I'm singing one song. I'll be in 1/15 of the show, but I need you to
It's
buy
like,
this $20 ticket.
it's like, are they going to kick you out of the show if you don't meet your quota with tickets? I don't think I sold any for mine.
Classic. All right. Well, awesome. Yeah. Do you have another
Oh,
question, Will?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had one more question. Sorry. My only other question, and then I have to go to class, unfortunately, is I'm working on like putting together a reel right now. And I was, I feel like we talked about like knowing your type and things like that. And if you're splitting up a reel, like, would it be wise to do like a more like comedic section at the beginning of the reel and then some more like dramatic work for it, or like pick an aesthetic and stay in that lane, if that makes sense?
A lot of people do like a reel and then like a comedy reel a lot of the times. But if you don't have that much footage, it might not warrant making them separate. So just throw them into one. Make sure that I think you always want to start with your strongest clip, that kind of thing. But if you have enough footage, you can make two. Or sometimes people will, if there is enough there where it's not just like one little tiny shot for like like a couple of seconds, they will if they have enough footage, they'll just make separate clips, like this project, this project, this project, that kind of thing. There's lots of different ways to play around with that. But as long as it's all like if you do it all together, just make sure your very best one is at the jump.
Got you. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time. I have to.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, Will.
I have to go too, but thank you so much, Jacq.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks, Megan.
Bye. See you soon, Steven.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, babe.
Awesome.
Love you.
Thanks for coming to Sarah Lawrence again.
Did we end it so early?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.